So Activision recently dropped the highly anticipated Warzone Mobile for iOS and Android devices, and in this video we're going to be taking a look at why this controller might be the best on the market at the moment. So today we're going to be looking at the GameSir Galileo controller for mobile. So this is one of many telescopic style controllers that you just plug onto your mobile. We'll be taking a look at what you get in the box, pros, the cons. If you enjoy these sort of videos, then make sure you subscribe to the channel because I upload all sorts of settings for FPS games such as Call of Duty, both on console and mobile. And yeah, let's jump into it. So what's in the box? Well, first off, I think it's fair to say that the G8 Galileo box feels super premium. The controller's really well packaged in there, and as you'll see here, they've even put foam rings around the joysticks to make sure that it's not damaged in transit. And yeah, everything just feels really high end, which is a nice start when you're opening a product. And we'll take a look first off at the box that kind of comes in the central part of the controller, and this just contains some stickers and documentations and instructions and things like that. And then the handset itself feels really premium as well. There's a nice rubber backing to the telescopic extender. Like I say, these foam rings come off, so just make sure that the joystick doesn't get damaged. And the joysticks themselves feel really smooth and fluid. And same for the trigger and shoulder buttons, as well as the paddles. They're in a nice ergonomic position. So far so good. And then one thing about this controller which is actually a really nice surprise is that they've given us additional joystick caps. So you've got slightly extended height ones or domed ones, a bit like the old school GameCube controller, and slightly smaller ones as well, so you can choose one that really fits your preference and game style. So straight out of the box, this handset is plug and play. All you need to do is plug in your mobile phone into the USB connector, and there we go, it will draw the power directly from the mobile. There's no internal batteries as part of this controller, and as soon as you're plugged in and it's made the proper connection, then you'll see the white indicator logo on the bottom right hand side will flash white. So let's take a look at some of the pros about this handset. First off, being this USB-C adapter, it's actually got a little bit of flexibility up and down, just so it's not going to snap off when you're inserting the phone into the holder, and it kind of gives you a bit of peace of mind because sometimes if it's too sturdy then it will snap off. Not only that, but it has got a USB pass-through port on it, so you'll be able to charge your mobile phone by plugging in directly through there, so it will power the device and charge the phone at the same time. Alongside this, you can plug in the audio jack 3.5mm, so you can listen to the audio direct through the controller as well. The design of it feels really solid as well, and they've been clever to allow enough space for the camera bunt to fit in where the telescopic element pulls out, so it's a nice snug fit there, so there's no danger of your lenses getting scratched on the back of that, but it also means it's going to be a really good universal fit for all types of phones. So yeah, overall the build quality and the design feels great. The buttons when you're playing in-game feel really good, and the joysticks are super responsive, and the triggers and the options that you have for the different types of buttons are also a really nice touch that really kind of make this feel more like a console style controller. I've been playing a lot of Warzone Mobile with this controller, and it really does give a massive advantage, particularly if you're used to playing on touchscreens. This device is also really reasonably priced, so it's coming in at about $80 or £60 depending on where you're buying it from. And I should point out that I purchased this with my own money. This isn't a sponsored video, I'm just giving my honest review on the product, but I mean, to be honest, what you get for the price versus some £200 Pro controllers, I think this is a really great option. On a side note, Scuff have actually just announced they'll be releasing the Scuff Nomad, which is their version of a mobile controller. Let me know down in the comments below and like the video if you'd like to see me do a comparison of this G8 versus the Scuff, and make sure you subscribe so you don't miss when I upload that video. Anyway, back to the G8 Galileo, and another great thing about this handset is the buttons. So you can actually remap the buttons and the trigger and actually have them as a hairline trigger, so this is great for FPS games, and all you need to do is hold the M macro button and the trigger down, and it will essentially set that trigger to a hairline trigger, so super sensitive, hardly any dead zone, so you'll be able to get your shots off super quickly in FPS games. And then next up we've got the back paddles, which to be honest on any mobile controller is a really nice touch. You won't find this on things like the Backbone, so I mean having these, especially if you're used to using a Pro controller on console, is definitely going to be a must, and this is a big W for the G8 Galileo. You can map these to whichever buttons you want, again by pressing the macro button till it flashes red, and then you can assign these to slide and jump like you would on console for Warzone Mobile. As I alluded to earlier, you can obviously change the joysticks on this as well, and that is as simple as literally unclipping the top fascia, taking the joystick out and putting the new one in. It literally couldn't be simpler, and I actually quite like the way that it looks with the grey underneath there. Maybe there'll be some third-party aftermarket colours that we can start to swap out these fascias for, but yeah, I mean super simple, and then it just clips back on with magnets. So there is a lot to like about this handset, but there are a couple of cons with it as well, so let's take a look at some of those. So the controller does actually come with an app with it, so you can use this to remap the buttons, adjust the dead zones on the joysticks and things like that. The only problem is that it's actually only available on the Google Play Store and on Android devices, so if you're using an iPhone like I am, then you won't be able to get this app, so you can't calibrate any of the buttons or change any of the settings, which is, to be honest, a real shame and missing out on a huge part of the market. For this reason, I've shown some footage from the Retro Games Core channel, and he goes through and shows a lot about the app on his device, so I'll leave the link in the description box below if you want to check out his video after this one. But yeah, that's a real shame that they haven't got that optimized for iOS just yet. And secondly, there have been reports that if you've got a phone case on your phone, then sometimes the USB-C connector won't actually fit all the way in because it's not quite long enough or it doesn't protrude far enough. So a lot of people have found that they actually need to take their case off for this to be able to fit in comfortably. I obviously have been quite a lucky one actually, because I can keep my case on, and as you can see from this, it's not a super thin one. There is still a bit of depth to it, but I think it is that there's just a big enough slot for the USB-C connector to go through, so it will just depend on what case you've got for your phone. Thinner ones will be better, but you might find that you need to take the case off for this to work. And finally, this is probably, or definitely more of a me issue, but I'm a lot more used to playing on PS5 controllers, and the configuration of the joysticks is a lot more leaning towards the Xbox, and even down to the way that they've labelled the buttons is definitely geared towards Xbox users. I can get over it and it's not the end of the world, but I think ergonomically I would have felt more comfortable if it was more similar to a PS5 controller. Again, like I say, this is personal preference, so not a biggie, and actually you guys might prefer it. So there we go, that is the G8 Galileo from GameSir, and to be fair, for the price, that is a solid bit of kit and definitely something that I'll be using to play Warzone Mobile from now on. Remember, let me know down in the comments if you'd like me to take a look at the Scuff Nomad when it comes out. We'll do a full comparison against the two prices, and I think there are a few spec differences as well, so we can take a look at those. If you did enjoy this video, then make sure you give it a like and subscribe to the channel, because I upload all things Warzone, whether that's tech, tips, best settings, and I'll catch you in the next video.